Hey everyone, today I'm going to be flipping through all of my binders, doing a bit of a mid-year tour, as well as answering some questions from you, my viewers. I got a good number of questions from my Google form over the last couple of months, and I will be answering those, as well as a few things that I've gotten in the comments over the last year. This, as I said, is basically my mid-year binder tour, but I will warn you this won't be as thorough as my year-end tour. I also won't be going through my wife's shiny collection, so apologies in advance to my Shawwell subscribers. I promise we'll both do a more thorough tour at the end of the year in either December or beginning of the year in January. And to be honest, doing this tour is mostly just an excuse so that I have something to do with my hands while I'm going over your questions, because I figure you guys didn't want to just look at a view of my desk while my disembodied voice answers a dozen or so questions. So, where shall we begin? I guess we'll begin where we always begin, which is Red Velvet, which now, if you can even believe it, has 2 binders. I have 2 full binders to deal with my full Red Velvet collection. We have one that is just Silgi and full group album stuff, and then we have this binder which is all of the non-album stuff. I'll tackle album stuff first, and then we'll go through the non-album. It is kind of crazy to me that I have 5 binders now. Back when I started these videos, I only had this binder, this one binder right here. This had everything. This had Silgi, Red Velvet, Kim Lip, Momo, and the smattering of other things that I happen to have. And now I've got 5. It's amazing how much this collection has grown in just year and a half, 18 months probably, since my wife and I started collecting. So yeah, let's just get started. Like I said, this is going to be the album cards, starting with the earliest for Silgi. I have pretty much everything at this point. I'm missing a few things here or there, but I also have some things on the way. So this collection is going quite well. And let's get to the first question, which is how many Silgi photo cards do you have? And I will say, if you can't tell, it is, to put it bluntly, it is a lot. I have a lot of Silgi cards. I did do a count before making this video just so I could have an accurate answer, and between everything that's in these binders or in my storage box waiting to be put away in my next storing video, or even a few things that are on the way currently, I have 112 Silgi cards. And of those, 74 are just album cards, just things that would be in this binder. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised, but it is kind of hard to believe that I just have that many cards for one person. This is like a third or a quarter of my collection, and it's already over 100. Next question is, what is my most expensive photo card? And although I don't like to admit that I have overpaid for photo cards, it is something that I have done. The one I probably spent the most money on, and it's my biggest shame, is actually back here. It is the Silgi Kino card, for the Reva Festival Day 1. It's very cute though. Look at her. Super cute with her little pouty face. You know, I was earlier in the hobby when I made this purchase, and just a lot of things went wrong. I really do try to keep my budget pretty low. You know, I will go outside my kind of preferred ceiling for prices every so often, but for album cards, I do try to keep it to a pretty reasonable level. But since it was a Kino card, I went over what I would probably normally pay. And then I also didn't realize that the seller had listed the price in Swiss francs and not USD, which the dollar is weaker than, so their list price was actually higher when you converted it than it would be in dollars. There was also like a currency exchange fee. And then, of course, you have international shipping. And I looked it up. I spent over $35 on this one card. I try not to say how much I pay for cards. I'm not telling you exactly how much I paid, but you can assume it is some amount of money over 35. And I hope I never make that kind of mistake again. I don't quite remember where we were, but I think we were in the Irene and Silgi era. And oh, this is a good place to be for our next question, which is, what is my favorite Silgi card? And that is easy. My favorite Silgi card is this one right here from the Irene and Silgi Monster album. I just love her expression with her sticking out her tongue. It's super cute. I also spent a lot of time and effort trying to get it. I've told the story many times, but I know not everyone has watched every video that I've made. But basically, I tried to buy this card like 3 or 4 times from different sellers in different countries, like between Instagram and Mercari Japan, and I just could never get this to go through. Even though it's not even like a rare card, it was just, I don't know, very hard to lay my hands on. But I did eventually get it, and I think that extra effort just makes it a little more special to me. The other card I really like, probably my second favorite, is a day 1 card. Reva Festival, or no, this is day 2. Reva Festival day 2, and this is her in her little raincoat. Very cute. I just love that scene in the music video. I'm glad they have like a card with her in the raincoat. It's super cute. Okay, and here's where we were. So next question is, when did you start collecting K-pop merch? And did I start at the same time as my wife? So as far as photo card collecting, yes, we did start at the same time, which was early last year, 2022. But for K-pop stuff in general, I started a little bit earlier than her. I bought my first K-pop album in 2019. It was Twice's Feel Special album, which I don't actually even still have. I ended up selling that album a few years ago before I kind of got into collecting and buying albums. I don't know. I just went through a phase where I got rid of some of my stuff. So yeah, so that was my first album in 2019. And then my wife, later that year, when we were in Japan, we went to a Tower Records and she bought her first Shiny album there. She started getting albums like a little bit after I did, but basically at the same time. So that is how we got into K-pop collecting. And collecting photo cards, honestly, was sort of her idea. I did buy like a couple random cards. I'm not really sure why. I think I just kind of wanted them. Like I bought a Wendy and I bought like a Silgi or 2. I don't know. Yeah, so that's about when we started. We did start around the same time, to kind of circle back. Okay, and now we have finished the Silgi album card section, and now we're moving into full group stuff. I don't fully collect like all Red Velvet stuff, but I do try to get, like, if I can find an Irene, I will collect full group cards for albums and concepts that I particularly like. So starting off, we have Ice Cream Cake. This is the red or the velvet? This is the velvet. So yeah, I do have a few more sets that I would like. We're still working on Rookie. And then I know I would really like the second Red Summer. Here's the first one. As well as Peekaboo / what's that album called? The Perfect Velvet and RBB. Those are probably like the 2 album, or I guess 3 album sets that I would like to collect the most in the near future. And then I did start collecting some of the solo stuff for Wendy and Joy. So I know Wendy's got a comeback coming up, so I'm hoping to collect that as well whenever that happens. And then just random assortment of other things. I do really love these little like receipts from the Reva Festival finale. I don't know why. I just think the color, they use their colors a lot. I think the images are wonderful, and they look really good in these little 2 pockets. So yeah, so that is it for album inclusions. Let me set this aside and we'll do the non-album stuff, and I'll answer a couple more questions. So as I said, this is all non-album stuff. It's similar to the other one. It's going to be Silgi in the front and then like full group further on, but I don't have a lot of full group stuff. So the next question is, why do I use A5 size binders and not the A4/9 pocket binders? This is actually a comment I got a few videos back, and I did answer them there, but it's never really come up in a video, so I thought it was worth talking about now. There's a couple main reasons why I don't do like the bigger 9 pocket stuff. One of them is I'm kind of pretty heavily invested at this point, and every time I have to buy more stuff, I'm more and more invested in the 4 pocket A5 size binders. Between pages and tabs and binders and even my like sleeves, I don't think would be a perfect fit for a larger pocket size or a larger page size. So that investment kind of keeps me stuck in the smaller format. The other reason I'm really into it is because I do really like the layout for a lot of groups, especially for Red Velvet. It works out really well because it's a 5-member group, so I have like all the Silgi stuff in one thing, so she can kind of live off on her own. And then if I have full group stuff, it just fits nicely on a 4 pocket page, and I don't have like weird double-sided things, or I have to like do like 2 pages, like if it were like twice. If I did full group twice in an A5, like that would be kind of ridiculous, because I'd have like Momo on one section and then like double-sided full group for the other 8. It'd be weird. But the layout, I don't know, that's just kind of a preference I have. I just think it looks really nice. And especially because I make these videos, I do kind of want things to be somewhat aesthetic. The other thing, and this is like not like a main reason, but it is something that I do have in my mind, is that I have seen collectors, when they have the big pages, there seems to be a bit of a temptation to collect more. Like you've got bigger binders that, if you aren't collecting a bunch of groups, feel very empty. And if you're collecting one member, there's like that temptation of like, oh, well, I could do like top 3. Wouldn't that look nice? Especially because cards seem to be in like sets, so everything will like go together, especially if you're doing twice. And then if you are doing things like twice, once you do a top 3, then there's always that temptation to do like full group twice. So keeping things pretty minimal in this way, like only doing A5 size binders, really kind of keeps my collecting under control. That way I'm not having this temptation to be like, oh, I should, add a new member from this group, or I should collect a new group entirely. If I were to do either of those things, I'd basically need a whole new binder if the photo card collection was of any real size. So that is a very long-winded reason why I particularly keep with A5. I do really like the wide A5, which is, we'll see next when I do my LOONA binder. I don't know, I'm not sure I'll ever really move to 9 pocket. I mean, never say never. I might decide at some point that that's gonna be the best fit for something that I'm doing, but for right now, I just really like how compact these little binders are. Yeah, so that is it for my Red Velvet non-album stuff. Next, we will move on to Kimlet and LOONA. All right, and now we have what is currently just LOONA, but we'll soon include some ARTMS Odd Eye Circle stuff. So this is all, I do have cards for the new Odd Eye Circle album, but those haven't been put away yet. That'll be in my next storing video. So right now, this binder is all, God, I have so many pages. This is mostly Kim Lip, both album and not album stuff. There's a few full group sets and a smattering of other member items, starting with pre-debut, and we got the LOONA Studio Polaroids and these cute little stickers that I bought from an Etsy seller. And then we move through this chronologically, so that it's going to be pre-debut, full group, and then we'll end the album stuff with like Japanese album cards. So the next question I got was, have I ever been to a K-pop concert? Yes, I've been to 3 actually. I went and saw Twice in 2019 at their LA Twice Light show. I also got to see Super M back in early 2020 before like everything shut down. And then I also last year got to see LOONA at their San Francisco show. What is my favorite Kim Lip card? And this is my broken record moment. I absolutely love this card. I love pointing out how much I love it, how beautiful I think it is. Her earrings, her pose. The pink hair it was such a good look for her. I do kind of miss her blonde hair now that she's like dark black hair. But you know, Jin Seol even said that she's wanting to do blonde again, so maybe in the future they won't all just be like dark brunettes. And then yeah, we have my finally completed Japanese album cards, Hula Hoop and All 4 Luminous. Very excited to have that one done. Okay, next question as we move into non-album and like tour stuff. Not tour, like concert stuff. The next question is, do I have any biases in other groups? And yes, I have many biases in groups. I watch a lot of K-pop, so I do have opinions. My top 5 members who are probably like what you might call like just below collecting tier would be Yujin from IVE, Sakura from LE SSERAFIM, Ning Ning from aespa, Tiffany from Girls' Generation, and Sinbi from GFriend/VVZ. And then the next question related to that is, who would I like to collect that I don't already? And that one's super easy. Probably my 2024 collecting project is Ning Ning from aespa. It's been something I've thought about for like at least a year, and now that a lot of my collections are kind of getting in really good, like most of the backlog is taken care of, I think I could tackle that. But I will say I will only be doing album cards. They just have too much like merch stuff and pre-order cards. Like LOONA is pretty bad in the later eras and even in the current Odd Eye Circle era, but like aespa they got nothing. They got nothing on aespa. I just love this collection. And like I said, I really like this wide A5 format. I think for certain groups it makes a lot of sense. Like if you were to collect a 6-member group or a 3-member group, I think wide A5 is just like perfect if you want to keep it a little bit smaller. All right, why did I decide to make YouTube videos? And that's an interesting question. So my wife and I do enjoy watching a lot of collector videos. We watch a couple of the bigger channels as well as a few smaller ones that we like their personalities or we like their collections. But at least for me, there wasn't really anyone who collected, I don't want to say like nobody collected like who I like, but it was hard to find a video where I could, I don't know, live vicariously through them. It's like everyone collects Twice by and large, but nobody really would be like Momo fans. And there were a few Red Velvet people. They mostly did full group. Almost nobody I found collected LOONA except like the full group collectors. So I kind of just decided I would make videos that I would want to watch. Like, I was starting a collection and thought, hey, why don't I just start recording myself opening, you know, boxes from Mercari and putting cards away and doing unboxings and making the videos that, like, I would enjoy watching and hopefully other people would. I didn't really expect people to watch them, but I'm very thankful for everyone who does. But even if I didn't have subscribers, I would still just like probably keep making these just to document my collection. I do want to, why I haven't been flipping the pages, I do want to hold on these. I do really love these little like concert tickets, these like plastic concert tickets. I'm trying to get like 3 more. There's like 3 Odd Eye Circle specific ones I'm trying to get. I think I'm gonna be able to get one of them very soon. I don't know, they're just hard to get a hold of. So I'm hoping more will show up, but these things I just love. One of my favorite parts of my collection. And I also really love this, which is another active collection, these little 2 photo strips. These were a pre-order benefit of some sort from Withdrama. Right now I'm only missing 2 members, which is Jinsel and Chu. And then let's see, next question is, oh, this is related to making videos. What is the hardest thing about making videos? And I'm not even joking. The hardest thing for me is listening to my voice when I'm editing. It's just, I don't know. I think we all find it weird to hear our own recordings of our own voices. And so that's the thing that I like, that probably like annoys me the most, is just hearing my own verbal tics and what have you. But that doesn't stop me from making videos because I do really like it. All right, so that is the, for now, LOONA binder. We do, as I said, have ARTMS stuff coming in the next storing video. This is pretty thick, so I'm not positive that I can do more than like the current volume, not volume, I keep wanting to call it volume up, version up era. So may have to like figure out a new storing situation for Odd Eye Circle going forward. I think that's just like a problem I'll have to solve when we go into our next like ARTMS era, whether it's full ARTMS or another Odd Eye Circle. That's just something I'll have to tackle then. All right, and now we have the Momo and Twice binder. And this is like the weird binder in my collection where I actually switched everything up so it goes reverse chronological. So the most recent is in the front. For whatever reason, for Twice, that just kind of like makes sense to me. I also think it's just nice to not have to like flip through half my binder just to see the most recent era. Okay, next question, which does kind of relate to Twice, is what was the first K-pop song I ever heard? And if you don't count Psy's Gangnam Style, which I'm not saying that's not K-pop, but I think of that more as just being like a viral song that like everybody heard. I'm not sure how much of a gateway it was for most people. The first K-pop song I ever heard was Run Devil Run by Girls' Gen. One of my college friends, for reasons that are a bit long-winded to get into, he played it for me. And for whatever reason, that was not like a gateway for me. My actual gateway was the debut Twice song, like Ooh Ah. Although I wasn't a fan at debut, I didn't discover that song until 2017. But that was my gateway. I do sometimes wonder, like, what kind of a K-pop fan I might have been had Girls' Generation been my gateway group and that been my gateway song. Like, would I still like Twice? Or Red Velvet or LOONA or anyone else that I'm like super into? Would I be like a salty like second gen fan that would be like, it's not as good as it was in my day. Second gen was best gen. I don't know. I'd like to think some things are constant, but it's hard to really say. Now, what is my favorite Momo card? And I actually just flipped right past it. My favorite Momo card is a toss-up between these two. What era are we on? What is Love? There's just something about her look in this that I mean, these cards are very similar. One, we've got the little letter balloon, and then her just looking at the camera. This, I guess, is like the yes card because we've got yes in the corner. I don't know. I also think like this era is somewhat meaningful for me because my wife and I we were actually in Korea on our first trip there when this song, like actually an album actually dropped. I wish I had like bought it when we were there just for like fun. But like, yeah, we were watching like Men on a Mission, whatever that show is called. And they were on and they like teased the song, and immediately after you could like go on YouTube and watch the video. And so there's like this like little sentimental part. So I think that's probably why I really like that card, or those two cards. But I also just think they're really pretty. What are your favorite songs of 2023 so far? I do feel like this year has been pretty good for K-pop music. There are some years where, I don't know, they either start strong and then, what do I want to say? Like, we don't get that momentum where it's just like every song is just good all year. It's like it might start strong or it might end strong. But this year so far, you will see what the back half looks like, but I feel like it's been pretty good. If I had to like list a few of my favorite songs in no particular order, they'd probably be Spicy by aespa, Juice by SHINee, Yunoya by Billy, Love Me Like by Odd Eye Circle, Left Right by XG, and I do really like the new Somi song, Flash Forward. But yeah, it's been a pretty good year. I'm hoping for some good stuff in the future, especially since there's going to be some more new groups dropping in the fall and winter, right? And so that was my album card collection for Momo. Now we've got like non-album, or I guess there's some album stuff in here, but it's like stuff related to albums that aren't photo cards that you caught in an album. It's complicated. I have lucky draws, there's pops, there's other inclusions. So that's what this section is. And then we have like a couple of members I don't collect, but may in the future. We shall see. And the next question I received is, do I collect anything besides K-pop merch and photo cards? And the answer is unfortunately yes. I collect too many things. I definitely did not need a hobby like photo card collecting to add to my list of hobbies and what have you. But in addition to this, I do have a small, well, maybe it's not so small. I have a collection of pins, like the kind you would put on like a lapel or a backpack. Some of them are K-pop related. Most of them are just kind of like nerdy in some way or another. Additionally, I do have like those little Nendroid figures. If you watch some of my old videos, you've probably seen like Hatsune Miku. I have a few of them on my desk, including one of my newest ones, which is the VTuber Iron Mouse. She's very cute. So she's just off to the side along with the Miku. She's still on my desk. Very cute. Let's see, what else do I have? I used to have like a bit of a manga collection, but I sold most of that. So I just have a couple series left at this point, a couple of my favorites. I have some vinyl and like some Japanese music CDs. My biggest collection, which I've had so long I don't even really think of it as a collection, is my like video games. I've been buying and playing video games since I was like a teenager, so I've got stuff from Nintendo 64, pretty much every Nintendo system from the 64 to the Switch. So, you know, all the Game Boy and DS stuff, the Wii, Wii U, and then I also have a PlayStation 2 and a PlayStation 4. So I've got a lot of stuff. The thing I probably like have actively like collected has been like Game Boy stuff. That's the thing that I still troll eBay for like some older or harder to find games. But yeah, I collect too many things to answer your question. Not just K-pop. I definitely have that collector mentality. All right, and last binder we have is the miscellaneous. This is everyone who is either like a smaller collection or just random cards I got from albums I had to buy. People who aren't biases necessarily. Okay, back to photo card collecting. Someone asked, what is my hardest collection? And I would say, oh, this is Yukiko, by the way. She's a solo artist. I would say Momo is pretty easy. There's a lot to collect for Twice, but there's also a lot of supply because Twice is so popular. And Momo is not a particularly popular member. She's like in the middle, maybe? Kind of depends. And Seulgi and Kimlip might be like equal difficulty. It kind of depends on the marketplace. Like Seulgi's a bit harder on Instagram due to popularity, but I don't have a huge problem getting stuff on Mercari Japan. In fact, that's oftentimes how I just prefer to get them because it's just easier to find stuff. The prices are decent. It feels a little more trustworthy. But the reverse is probably true for Kimlip. The supply on Mercari Japan and the prices are just completely the reverse of what you would find on Instagram. Just like not a lot of cards, much higher prices. So definitely much easier to collect even a popular member like Kimlip on Instagram. Yukika wasn't too bad. There's not a lot of people out there that collect Yukika, but like when they come up, it's pretty easy to like snatch them because not a lot of people are collecting. So as people offload, there's not like a huge supply of people wanting to grab those cards. WJSN, the black has not been a particularly hard thing to collect. I only have like a handful of cards left, but I think ultimately the answer is if I ever go back and decide to like collect all of Sola's album cards, which is sort of up in the air for me right now, I think that would be my hardest collection. So I hope that answered your question. I know that was long-winded, but it's basically, it would be Sola. Otherwise, I don't think any of my collections are that hard. Okay, would I ever collect a boy group? And if so, who would it be? Honestly, I am unlikely to ever collect a boy group, but if I did, hypothetically, I would probably collect a member from either SHINee, EXO, or 17, I would say. I'm not exactly sure who. I have some, preferences, but not strong enough to say that I would definitely collect one member or another. What is your favorite non-bias card? So I have actually quite a few in here. I'm gonna cheat. I'm not gonna say like one card. I do really like, it's a few pages back, I do really like this Unso card. Which one is it? This one. I don't know why. I think it has a lot to do with this yellow in the backdrop. It just, even though this is a very black and white concept, it just adds like some nice color. And I really like her like white gray hair. Looks so good. Other cards that I really like, let's see. I don't want to like rush through this because this is supposed to be a bit of a binder tour. I love this ticket. It's so cool. Oh, I love both of these aespa Girls cards. Like, I pulled this Karina from my album and then I went and got this Winter because I really liked it so much. And I like how well they go together with like the very heavy purple. And then I think this Sinbi might be my other favorite. These both I pulled from my Walpurgis Night album. So they're a little bit special since Sinbi, as I mentioned before, is like my bias NG friend. And I feel like very, very lucky that I not only pulled one card, but two cards of her in my album. And then that is basically the end of my binders. I have a couple more questions. Let's see. So we have, do you ever feel like retiring from collecting. And this person says, sometimes I feel overwhelmed and frustrated. I don't really know that I've thought much about retiring per se, especially because I feel like I'm still pretty new to collecting. I haven't been collecting very long, and I do get a lot of excitement from it, but I'd be lying if I said I never paused sometimes and think, like, I look at these 5 binders and I go, like, what am I doing? Why am I spending all this time and money on pieces of paper that I put in binders and then make videos of? I don't know. It is kind of a weird thing to do, I think, but I don't think I'll ever quit. I do think I might reach a point where we're like in what you might call like end game for my collections. Like, we all want our favorite groups and our favorite members from groups to have long careers that we continue to follow and collect their albums and their photo cards and all that. But like, realistically, there's going to be a point where they might retire from being an idol. They might do solo stuff, but maybe they're less active. Maybe they go into a different career like acting. And, you know, at the point when everyone that I collect and follow is basically inactive, I think that will be the point where I like retire. I know some people quit or retire and sell their like whole collections. I'm definitely not that kind of person. I'm probably going to be holding on to these for like the long term. I mean, like, I had Pokemon cards when I was, you know, a preteen. I was like 11 or 12, and last year I went and got like a whole binder. That was my whole collection. I still had it, and I did downsize them a little bit, but things might slow down. But I am definitely not planning my future retirement. All right, and then I do have one more question as I bring out the rest of my binders, which has absolutely nothing to do with K-pop, and that is, do I have any anime recommendations? And I absolutely love this question. It was really tough though, probably the hardest of all the questions I got. I have been watching anime for a long time, like most of my life at this point. But in the last like 10 years, I haven't watched a lot of anime, or at least I haven't watched a lot consistently. So a lot of the stuff I'm like most into and most familiar with is at least a couple years old. Most of it is much older than that. So when I thought about this, I decided to recommend 3 things. I was going to recommend one thing that is somewhat recent, one thing that is definitely not recent, and one anime movie. So my recent anime recommendation is My Dress Up Darling. It's if you haven't watched it, you don't know what it is. It's like a romantic comedy series. It has a lot to do with like the cosplay culture in Japan and the art of like making cosplay. It's super cute, and I do think there's a 2nd season coming, so I'm like very excited for that. My much older anime recommendation is Yu Yu Hakusho, which is not only one of my all-time favorites, but probably like just a classic. It's just a classic action show at this point. So if you do like things like Jujutsu Kaisen or Demon Slayer, this is probably something you should check out at some point. It's just great. That's all there is to it. It's just great. And then finally, my movie recommendation is The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. I watched this movie when it was pretty new, which was like 2016 was when it came out. So maybe 2016. No, not 16. Ugh, that would be very recent. 2006, sorry. 2006, 2007 was probably about when I watched it, and it made such an impact on me. I think if you like a movie like Your Name from a few years ago, you're probably going to like The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. They have kind of similar swings between being like very lighthearted and funny to being like heartbreaking, and you know, you're desperately searching for the tissues because you can't see the movie anymore. So yeah, I don't think enough people talk about that movie, and maybe it's because at this point it's on the older side, but it's so good. Go watch it. And if you have access to something like Crunchyroll, I did check, and all 3 of these things are available on Crunchyroll. So if you have access to that in your area, you have the money for like the whatever the subscription is, you can go watch any of these. So that's my anime recommendations. Happy to give more in the future if people enjoyed them. But that's it. That is it for today's video. I'm sorry this tour wasn't as thorough. Like I said, I was kind of focusing more on getting the questions done. And speaking of which, thank you to everyone who submitted questions in the last couple months. And sorry for taking so long to get this video out. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you did enjoy the video and you aren't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. You can also like this video. And hey, if there was another question that I didn't answer today, you can leave it down below in the comments and I'll answer them. And I might even answer it for everyone in a future video. So thanks again for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. And until next time, so long.